I definitely think that one of the potentials of blockchain is to make transparent things that are currently hidden. And that will disrupt many different things in different industries. Within the humanitarian community, we make a lot of transactions on a daily basis. In the future, we can expect that more and more transactions will become digital. And so therefore, we want to be able to be prepared for that future. And so when a beneficiary walks into a shop and they want to use some of the money that Medair gave them to buy the supplies they need, we hope that blockchain would be there to support all the transactions they make in that shop. And that will both reduce the likelihood of fraud, we hope, speed up the transaction time, and reduce the amount of costs that we have to bear on behalf of the shopkeeper and the beneficiary.
When you say the word blockchain, many people think about cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum. And that's because Bitcoin and Ethereum, as well as many other cryptocurrencies, run on blockchain. But in fact, it's important to separate the two technologies. Bitcoin requires blockchain, but blockchain has many other use cases in addition to cryptocurrencies. And that's what we're testing here in humanitarian aid. How can we use blockchain to make the transactions that we use in humanitarian aid cheaper, faster, stronger, and more transparent? And for that, we don't need any cryptocurrencies. We just need blockchain.
Well, for thousands of years, humans have been recording transactions on ledgers, which are books. And the more transactions, the more pages in the book. And then with the advent of the digital computer, we stopped using books and we started using spreadsheets. The more transactions, the more lines in a spreadsheet. Within blockchain, you have a block. And a block is a record of all transactions. So the more transactions, the more blocks. When we link those blocks together, we have a chain of them. And that means that transactions that occurred in the past can be linked together with transactions occurring in the present. And that allows us to make sure that no one is going backward and tampering with transactions, changing them like you could in a book. The second thing about blockchain that's quite unique, and that what really distinguishes it from books or spreadsheets, is that the blocks are then distributed all across a network. So the exact copy of transactions are held on each computer in the network. And this really provides trust. So no longer do you need to trust the bank or the housing authority to hold those transactions and to keep them safe and to keep them secure and to keep them accurate. Now, because it's distributed amongst the network, everyone has the exact copy, and they can only change the copy if they all agree. The data or the transactions that are written on the blockchain are written in code. So although you could see them, you're not able to say who is party A and who is party B. You would just simply see keys or a string of code that would represent each party. And if you knew your code or your string of your keys, you would know that that was the transaction that you enacted. But anyone else wouldn't be able to tell that. And I think that as that permeates amongst the humanitarian community, you'll see a greater appreciation of data privacy, but you'll also see a greater empowerment for beneficiaries in terms of the data that they're sharing and the transactions that they're making. Within any kind of project that involves technology, we as a humanitarian organization need to be extremely careful, because there's always going to be people on the margins of society who don't own a phone, or they didn't go to school, or they can't read or write. And those people, we have to make sure we can't afford to let them be left out of the project. We have to find a way to include them. So even on this project, we will end up giving the same goods and services to people who participate in the project with those who don't participate in the project. Whether you have a smartphone and you understand what blockchain is or you don't, you still will receive the same kind of assistance from Medair. In the humanitarian field, we face so many challenges, and anytime we have an opportunity to solve those challenges faster or more cheaply, we need to take a chance. We already know that transactions are happening all the time with greater frequency. So when you go into the shop, you need to maybe pay with a card now, and that all those transactions are happening and all the data is being spread everywhere. Well, we want to have a world where each individual has greater control over their own transactions and the data associated with them. So we hope that as we, as a humanitarian organization, transact with beneficiaries, that they can also have control over that data. And we want to put the power into their hands so that they can look up and see how much money they have in their wallet and how much they spent at that shop and what the role that Medair played in all of those transactions.